When the self is realized, would not everything be seen as an illusion? Would not even hatred or the need to transform hatred both be seen as illusion? Would there be anything to do? Would it just be effortless existence to, when the self is realized, to observe that all of these things are just phenomenon?
But again, you're sounding a little bit like ebbing tide, where there's no distinction there as to what is truth. I mean, is there earth? Can you look up and see the sun? Are there trees out there? Is there another entity in your life? Are you driving a truck at some point in time? There are things that are true there that you could start with in order to create distinctions for yourself. But if you were to call everything an illusion, that means that there's not any New York, or there's not a California, or there's not a Australia. Boy, that'd be a break, wouldn't it, if there wasn't an Australia? Go ahead.
Well, you just said all those things were true, and everything that you named off can be put under a microscope and seen as not being form. They are seen as being energy that are vibrating particles of something or other that are held in specific patterns so that they appear real. But in fact, they are not real. So, I mean, I think they probably teach this in 3rd grade, I don't know. There wasn't anything I learned in school that was ever useful to me, but they may be teaching something now, I don't know. So all of those things are not real, and in that respect. So put New York City under a microscope. I never really gave it a lot of consideration before. But everything about New York City is about form, is about energy that's being held in patterns to appear as form. Even our bodies, our energy, if under a microscope, are not solid. They're energy. So are we not waves of energy in this vast consciousness, not knowing who we really are until the self is realized? And then is any of this really important? Because everything at that point perhaps would be seen as an illusion. There would be nothing to do. Is that possible?
Is it possible to get to the place where you see that everything is an illusion and there is nothing to do? Is that what your question was?
Edward, pay attention. Is it possible to see that the world of form is not real? You said there are some things that are true, and you started listing off things that relate to form. And I'm thankful right now that I have your picture over text, so it's not distracting me. And the distractions here have gone to the other room. So you said these things are true, and everything you named off had to do with form. Even thought form is form. So even the mind, one could say, is not real. It's thought invented. Body is thought invented. And these are things that are appearing as real. Is that possible, Edward? That they're not truth at all?
Well, sure, it's possible. You care to discover that, however, you need to discover yourself. So you're kind of like the person who says, I'm going to go on an outer space journey and I'm going to discover outer space. And you say, well, then there's the moon. I'm going to discover the moon, and I'm going to discover Mars, and I'm going to discover Pluto and Saturn, and I'm going to turn right and go over to Edward's planet, Ophidophilus. And you hadn't even taken off yet. You haven't even left the Earth, and you're already circling around the planet as though you know what's there, rather than taking off and discovering whether there is a moon or a Saturn or a Mars. Now, I came from Ophidophilus, so I can tell you there is an Ophidophilus, but the rest of those are illusions.
So you believe in all those planets, do you, Edward? They all exist in that field where of no thing, of nothingness. And is it possible? You made some comment about thinking that I know and discovering for myself. Is it possible that I've discovered this, Edward?
Yes, yes. You believe it?
I don't believe it. I didn't say that, did I? So, what's the weather like on Ophidophilus, or whatever the hell you call it?
Sunny and warm. Rains all the time, but the weather's dry.
You're a liar, Edward. I'm through it, Al.